Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you find yourself today. I want to welcome all of you to today's Analyze This. We're going to be discussing a few current affairs or issues or some happenings in Ghana for the past week or two. Um, so you can be a part of this conversation today. You can join by clicking on the link we shared earlier. As we go along, those of you who are joining us on Facebook, I'm going to share the link on Facebook as well. And if you want to be a part of the discussion, you can still go ahead and do that. And you can present your questions, your contributions, your dissenting opinions respectfully. On this platform, we don't insult. Um, On this platform, we don't argue, we discuss, we share ideas. So we will learn from each other and come to an amicable solution. We are here to learn better ourselves and to help make our communities, our nation, and our continent better. Without much ado, I just want to zoom straight into our usual declarations before we start our programs. Creativity and inventions are not done by the color of one's skin. Creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. It is by an educated mind. I didn't say schooled mind. I said an educated mind. Education is different from schooling. We'll come to that sometime later. Those of you who've been following us for some time understand what I'm talking about. But we believe that no matter the color of your skin, irrespective of your pigmentation, you should be able to create if you educate your mind. Education simply means that enlighten um, or being illuminated of your gifts and developing them to serve your generation or to serve your community, the needs within your community. So if you enlighten yourself to be able to see your gifts and understand the importance of your gift within your community, and you develop that gift to serve your community, it means you are an educated person. A schooled person is somebody who goes through the curriculum. They tell him what to do or tell her what to do. They memorize stuff and they bring them out during examination time. So they get the paper, but they have not been illuminated enough to understand the importance of their gifts to the development of their community. So that is the difference. Somebody just chimed me and said, "Hey, can you explain education and learn schooling?" So that's why I did it. Um, Again, creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. So be educated, create, be creative, and invent, no matter the color of your skin. Alrighty, let's zoom straight into today's discussion. Apparently, those of you who were with us last week would know that we could not finish the discussion we started last week, so we decided to continue this week. We have only 1 hour to we got a lot. We probably are going to do 2 discussions today. We're going to finish up that of last week and start another one this week. The one we're going to be starting today might be a lengthy one because we have to educate or throw more light or illuminate the minds of people to understand certain basic um, um, values and principles within the development of a human community. So it's going to basically take a little more time. But last week, as we spoke about the accident in Ghana involving an actor, um, and a 3-year-old, which resulted to the death of a 3-year-old. And we said on this platform that most people are calling for um, the law to be activated, the law to go to work. But they are looking at one side of it, calling for the arrest and the prosecution of the actor who it was presumed that he was speeding, which resulted to the accident. So whatever investigations that needs to be done, I believe the competent police department of Ghana would be able to do their job and come to um, uh, a reasonable conclusion. But there's one aspect which I have been following lately. I can't find any word that the man whose son was also involved in the accident, the 3-year-old boy who lost his life in the process. I have not heard or seen or read anywhere. I stand to be corrected. If anybody has that information, you can please send it our way, and I would definitely and gladly follow up. And if there is a need for me to do the corrections, I'm going to do that. If not in this particular video, in the subsequent videos, I'm definitely going to admit and do that correction. But all I'm saying is, I've been following for some time now, and I have not heard or seen or read anywhere that the police have invited the gentleman whose son died in the accident for questioning. Because both whoever was presumed to be speeding and whoever did not strap the child in the car seat in the back of the seat violated the laws of the land. They both violated the traffic regulations of Ghana. That is one thing we have to understand. So we cannot drag one person to face the law without dragging the other. I understand perfectly, and my heart goes out to the gentleman who lost his son, but his negligence contributed to the losing of the son. We got to say it. We got to call a spade a spade. His negligence contributed to the death of his son. And for me, it is sad for a father not knowing the value. I'm not saying he does not know, but understanding the value of car seat and strapping a kid in the car seat. I didn't follow up to find out if the father was strapped in the car seat, in the seat belt himself. But if he was, that should give him an understanding how important strapping the child in the car seat is. And this death, and I repeat, I say it over and over, could have been avoided if this car was seated in the car seat, strapped in the car seat. This death would have been avoided. And so as we are looking at solving the accident issues in Ghana, this also has to be given a very critical attention, needs to be paid to car seats and kids being strapped in their seats. It is very, very important. And I've said that on this platform, you see, human life is so important. I don't know how to express this for us to understand the importance of human life. But it looks like in Ghana, some of the attitude and the actions of some people in authority makes me think and believe that they don't even know the importance of a human life. I don't care what kind of life it is. And that is going to drag us into the next discussion where we will talk about leadership. So it is very important to value every human life. As a father, as a parent, you sit in a car with your son. The first thing you do is to pay attention to the safety of your son. Because you see, one thing you cannot control. As another driver driving reckless, we cannot control that. You can't control what somebody else is going to do on the road. That is why you need to take all the precautions that is needed for you to secure the life of yourself and that of your son. So the man violated traffic regulations and traffic laws of Ghana. So he needs to face the law as well. The man whose son died, unfortunately, in that tragic accident needs to face the law. He needs, somebody said it needs to be used as an example. I don't want to use the word to be as an example, but this particular incident needs to drive home the importance of this, the safety of the child, especially in motor vehicles. The child needs some safety. The car seat is not, it's not for fun. The car seat is not something fancy. You're not being a bourgeois by using a car seat. You're not being an uppity by using the car seat. You are using a car seat to secure the life of your son. And so if this kid were to be seated, strapped in the car seat, or even in the seat belt behind the father or in the back, this death could have been avoided. And I believe that, because that accident, even as much as it was tragic, as much as the impact was severe, the kid could have been saved from dying if that child was seated at the proper place and strapped. So please, Ghana police, do not neglect that aspect, that side of the law. Traffic regulations, traffic laws needs to apply to both the father, both people involved in the accident. It needs to be looked at all round. So you cannot punish one person, or you cannot make one person face the law and let the other person off the hook, probably because of sympathizing with him for losing his son. And like I said, it's painful, but the law has to take its course. And so he needs to be invited to the police station as well. The police needs to invite him and question him. Was he using a car seat? Was the kid strapped? All of these needs to be brought to bear. So please, Ghana police, we are pleading with you on this platform, because if we let stuff like this slide, guess how many more kids are going to lose their lives because of the negligence of the parents. And because of negligence of people, that is why we have authority. Because I believe last week, Prof said something here that in our part of the world, we assume that everybody is going to do the right thing. But leadership has the responsibility to make sure that people are whipped into line. So that is why we have authority. Authority is there to make sure that people are doing the right thing, or the right thing is being done. So please, Ghana police, we're not going to rest on this case. We're going to be talking about it every time we turn on our cameras. This little boy, we should make sure we use this particular incident or accident as a means of addressing the issue of the child's safety in Ghana, because it is very important. It is very, very important. We don't even know how many more children have lost their lives or about to lose their lives due to the negligence of their parents or whoever their guardians might be. So please, this is also important. I believe that I would want to believe that the Ghana police would take a critical look at this and even start checking car seats with kids. Cars with kids in them, they had to stop them, check the car seat. If possible, give them a fine to pay. Please, we would have to value human life. It is important. We have to value human life. And like I said, the next topic, we'll talk about that as well. Welcome, Prof. I
Thank
was rehashing last week's discussion. As we said, we're not going to stop talking about this. We really want to make sure that justice is served on both sides of the coin. So introduce yourself and your submission as well.
uh, Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Kojewa Frimpong. As usual, I'm very, very sorry for being late. I had a family emergency and I had to take care of it.
That's important.
Yeah, what I would like to say is that I'll start by saying what I normally say, what kind of society are we trying to build? You know, some of these issues that we talk about them because society is organized in clearly defined responsibilities. And that's why we have people placed in vantage points to do certain things that you and I are not empowered to do. So whenever there is an issue and people beat about the bush and do not go to the core of the issue at stake, it is so hard to even make head or tail of the discourse. Because if you listen to so many influential people in our society and the way they attack issues, it is as if we don't have any clear-cut designs for solving problems that are in our society. Societal problems cannot be solved by individual approaches. It cannot be done. We've done that for years, and we've come to the if you have common sense and if you pay attention, you will come to the same conclusion that most of us have come to the conclusion that it cannot be done that way. If it could be done that way, there is no need for anybody to be president or vice president or minister or policeman or a soldier or a teacher. Why don't we let everybody do what they please? It is because we know that societal problems need a concerted collective effort. That's why society is organized in bits. And then we give responsibilities to certain empowered people to take action whenever there is a problem, or to take a proactive approach to issues so that the problems don't even come. There are problems in every society. It is the ways of solving those problems that differ from society to society. This our ad hoc emotional approach to solving problems, it has not helped us and it will not help us. So until we come to the conclusion that when we give somebody a job to do, we need to hold that person accountable to that job, or he needs to get out of the way for somebody better equipped to do that job. We'll keep on reinventing the wheel every time there is a problem because we don't want to go to the root of the problem. That's my initial statement.
Ready. We need to hold people responsible for whatever responsibility we entrust in their care. So we need to make people accountable, basically. And one of the things we're trying to do on this platform is to throw light on our responsibilities, collective responsibilities, individual responsibilities, and how we can be accountable to ourselves, to our immediate community, and to our larger community as well. So we can bring development to our mother country, Ghana, as well as Africa as a whole. So the second topic we're going to be, initially I wanted to play the video, but I decided not to because it's very, very emotional. It's very emotional. So I decided not to play the video, but we'll talk about it. Last week we had a couple of people, but I must say dozens of people sending us videos upon videos of this particular incident where a lady who was believed to be in her middle age and was involved in an accident and was hospitalized at the Winneba Trauma Hospital. But for some reason, the family of this lady did not come to visit. They probably might have not heard about the accident. As we all know how some people leave their remote villages and travel to Accra to do business or to make ends meet one way or the other. And sometimes it's even hard for people to hear of some of these incidents or accidents in some of the remotest part of the country. So probably the family might have not heard of what's going on with their this woman. So she was not visited at the hospital, and it got to a point, and I'm pretty sure she probably might have sustained some head injuries or something might have gone wrong in the process of the accident, which has affected her mentally because it got to a point where the hospital was complaining of her making noise and shouting, yelling in the hospital. So they couldn't stand it anymore. So they decided to contact or complain to the director of the hospital, who agreed that or sanctioned, let me put it that way, that this woman should be taken from the hospital and be left, oh, Jesus, in the outskirts of the city, in order for the family to find her if it is believed that she comes from that particular town. So my question is, how were they able to ascertain where she's coming from? That's number one. So if you were able to get that information from somebody that she comes from this particular town, couldn't that person be your source or your point of contact to help identify people who know this woman? That's my first question. How they managed to know that this woman comes from this town. Secondly, don't we have, even if they didn't know and they believe that she comes from the town, don't we have assemblymen, DCE, DCO, whatever they call them, assemblymen, even the kings in the towns? Couldn't they have contacted the king or whoever, any authority in that town to find out, hey, we have this person in our possession and we believe that she comes from this particular town. Can you help us identify the family? So let's assume they did that and they couldn't get the help they needed. You see, I was listening to one of the videos. I believe I don't like doing this, but I just want to be sure of what I'm saying. So I just want to quote the source of this particular, because I had multiple videos from different people who wanted our opinion on this particular matter. So one of them I was watching, and I believe the source was Gossips 24. Yes, Gossips 24. And the gentleman who was doing the presentation was stressing on the fact that it's a failure due to the failure of the systems, lack of systems in the country, which I strongly believe. I agree with him 100%. The systems happens to be the bigger platform upon which all of these trickle down. But my take on this particular issue was, where was empathy? Forget about the system. We know we have a problem with the system. I know we have a problem with the system, but where was empathy? So whoever sanctioned or whoever even decided, I want to repeat myself, whoever even thought, decided that let us go leave this woman at the outskirts of the city. Perhaps the family will find her. Did that person think of the fact that this woman, one, cannot walk? Two, how is she going to survive? Supposing nobody finds her or the family is not able to find her, how is she going to survive? How is she going to eat? Because she needs to get out, walk to go find food. How is she going to eat? How is she going to drink water? Did they leave food and water with her? So I listened to the video over and over and over, and it doesn't make sense whatsoever. Let's forget about the system. Let's talk about human relations. And this is where I want to bring in leadership. You know, most of the time when people hear leadership, they think it's political leadership. And no, leadership runs through every fiber of our society. It runs through the home, the office. You see, leadership starts with us. And I said this the other time. Leadership springs out of the principle of love. If you don't understand the principle of love, you will never understand leadership. Because love is a principle based on the foundation that all humans are created equal. That is the first concept. All humans are created equal. And so all humans needs the respect that every human needs. All humans must be accorded the respect that is why in my dictionary, I don't believe in very important personalities. In my dictionary, there's nothing like very important personalities. I believe in very impactful people. Some people can make impact, but the fact that you make an impact does not make you more important than any other person. So when you understand the concept and the principle of leadership, you know that all humans are created equal. And that is where human life, the importance of human life comes in. And we are all endowed with all these rights. The right to live, the right to assemble. We are endowed with all these rights. And so that is the crux of the principle of love. It is not a feeling. Let's put our feelings aside. It's a principle. So if you want to be a leader, you first have to have this foundation. Or if you want to serve your generation or serve your community, you first have to have this foundation. That's the premise. And then the second understanding is, what is leadership? Leadership is when you identify your gifts, you develop your gifts in service of your community, in service of these people, individuals who were all created equally. So your understanding of leadership is to serve human beings who were all created equally to make them better. So in order for you to understand all these concepts, you first have to understand that leadership starts with you. You start leading yourself. By understanding, studying, enlightening yourself on these concepts. And so when you have that understanding, when you develop that gift, and when you develop yourself to be able to serve out of the love, the understanding, the principle of love, then one, you will value every single human life, irrespective of the status. And so the doctors are supposed to be leaders. So do they understand this concept of love? One. Two, the concept of leadership and their service they're providing to the community. So if we don't have these understandings, that is where we run into problems, such problems as a community. So lack of empathy because of the lack of understanding of love and the lack of understanding of leadership. That is why we need to educate ourselves to understand some of these basic principles. But in all, I ask myself, where was empathy? Not even a single person amongst them decided that, no, this is wrong. Let us not do this. And that if you do this, I will blow the whistle on you. Not a single person. Because these people involved, I can bet my life on this, that these people involved who carried out this atrocious act lack empathy. They don't care about anybody but themselves. And what they are doing, which they think is work for them, is actually a job. They are there for the paycheck and not for the service of humanity. If you're doing this for the service of humanity, Jesus, you would have that empathy. Because in the first place, it is that empathy that drives you to serve humanity. So empathy would not allow you, it would not even give you that breathing space to even think about such a wicked act. So this is sheer wickedness, apart from systems that are not functioning. This is sheer wickedness. And I want to believe that the authorities will take this up and punish, bring these people to book and punish it. I don't care who that life was, whether she's mentally ill or whatever, that is a human life. And justice needs to be served. All right, Prof, I'm getting emotional, so please take over.
I get where you're coming from totally. And you know, me and you have butt heads over a lot of the issues at home. And I'm going to defer to you on this one. And my biggest issue was the fact that they could have left her in the hospital for her to die in the hospital. It wouldn't change anything. And if they were going to leave her anywhere, why not in the middle of the city? Or every village in Ghana has a market. If you really wanted people to see this woman and help her, if that was the intent. You could have left her at the market, the middle of the city. So to surreptitiously go leave her at the outskirts of town and pretend that somebody's going to find out and deal with it is not going to work. You know. And okay, they are saying the woman said she comes from a particular village. That's fine. You are claiming the woman has a mental breakdown. How do you take the word of somebody who has a mental breakdown? You know, I'm going to come back to you talking about the systems and justice must prevail. The person who told you I come from this city or this village has a mental breakdown. You have believed in code a mad woman to give you information about her location, where she comes from. You didn't do due diligence, go to the city, find out exactly if that is true. There are leaders in that city. What you didn't do that. Then you go and you dump her at that place. The woman is supposedly a mad woman, and you are taking her word without any verification and acting on that word negatively. And when you went there, you didn't even take her to the middle of the city. You dump her on the outskirts. That is not a place for somebody to find her. And the worst part is those people who actually saw her, who claim they don't know her, it didn't occur to anybody to give her food, to call. I won't go to that aspect because we'll come back to that later when we're talking about the lack of systems. There was no empathy. There was not even sympathy for the plight of the woman at that very particular point. And that's the kind of society we are building. You see, people think they are exempt when they are strong, they are healthy, and they are okay. They think they are exempt. It will never happen to them. Oh, this is just an outlier. It's not something that normally happens. I'm telling you, it happens every day where we come from. Let me give you an example. P.V. Obeng was the de facto vice president of Ghana during the regime of Rawlings. The guy died in traffic due to a simple asthma attack. Nobody knew who he was. He was in his car going through the motions, dying. And it took a taxi driver to take him to the hospital. Suppose we had an ambulance system. What happened to P.V. Obeng? If it had happened in South Africa, he wouldn't have died. If it had happened in Canada, the United States, Australia, Germany, the UK, he wouldn't die. I'm telling you for a fact, he wouldn't die. I'm not saying people don't die there, but not from these controllable circumstances. Because there was no ambulance, the roads are choked, and even when you are honking your horn, you are not an ambulance. And that's why whenever we have a problem, we tend to go back to the lack of systems. It's not because anybody wants to talk about that, but it makes life a little bit, how do we put it, organized. When you know what should be done in a particular circumstances, you automatically revert to what should be done. First and foremost, before even your adrenaline kicks in. But because we don't have a structured way of dealing with problems, and we are so individualistic in our approach to societal problems, this is why whenever something happens, we talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and then we let it die. Then it happens again. And then we talk and talk, and we are so emotional about things that we should be methodical about. And that's my problem. Nana, just listen to all the audios and the videos that are flying around and hear the confidence with which the medical officer said, yes, I gave the unction for them to leave the woman there. So when you are talking about justice should prevail, I'm telling you, nothing is going to be done. I know that for a fact. Do you know why I know that? Because of the confidence of the medical officer. Why do I say that? I can assure you this is not the first time this has happened. And I can assure you are talking about. I can assure you the medical officer has called the people or the authorities that should provide a means for people like this. And they didn't show up. And that's why he was so confident saying, I told them to leave her there. Believe me. Because for me, I've lived on both sides of the ocean and I've watched things because of what we do. When I was back home, I paid attention to a lot of things. It is the very people who are supposed to execute justice who are being unjust. And until the whole society rise up, we are so lucky in this modern era that we have social media and you don't have to go through the traditional media, and people are putting leadership on blast. Right now, I can assure you that medical officer's life is going to be a little bit troublesome. Then if he is a bold person, he's going to expose the rot in the systems that sort of made him decide what he did. Because the funny thing about life is that when pressure is on you repeatedly, if you are not used to that particular approach to life, you will break at some point. And a lot of people in our societies are at their breaking points. That's why they don't care. This issue of empathy that we are talking about, me and you have a lot of empathy because we have the resources to be able to respond. A lot of our people have been beaten down consistently over the years to the point whereby they are in survival mode. And so empathy is an alien principle to them. Because the Ghana that I know, one of my classmates asked me, we used to say that we are very, very welcoming people. Where did that welcoming attitude go? Because if this woman had been dropped a million miles away from the place she said she came from, I bet you in the old Ghana, people would have rallied to her help. And maybe that was the concept with which they dropped her. But the point is, why drop her at the outskirts of a village? You didn't call the chief. You didn't call the council of elders. You didn't call anybody. You just dump a human being that is not dead yet. So it's very easy to give up. I can assure you of that. And a lot of people have given up on our society. Unfortunately. Unfortunately.
Yeah, so my point is, you're talking about the doctors or the nurses who've given up, or you're talking about the masses who have given up? Because if you have given up as a doctor, then you have to just quit the profession.
Well, you have integrity. A lot of people don't have that. You have principles by which you live by. A lot of people don't have that. What I also like to posit is principles don't exist in vacuum. They exist in conjunction with the society in which you live. There are very, very few human beings who stick to their principles when the whole world is coming down. And it is really, really bad. I am not trying to justify that. That's what made Nazi Germany possible. That's what made the genocide of people in the Congo possible, because good men failed to act when they were outnumbered. I can give you examples upon examples upon examples. It won't solve the problem. But what I'm telling you is that a lot of Ghanaians have given up on Ubuntu or the collective good because they have consistently seen the actions of those who benefit from the resources of society without putting anything back into the society. They have seen so-called leaders loot and enrich themselves to the detriment of our society. Every society is supposed to be progressive. If we were here today, tomorrow we expect to go forward. Ours is going backwards. And we pay people to be leaders. I keep on saying this thing. If the sheep could shepherd themselves, there is no need to get a shepherd and pay the shepherd. It is because sheep cannot shepherd themselves. That is why we pay a shepherd to take care of the sheep. So I'm not going to blame too much the people in the village. The blame is on the medical facility and its leadership. That's number one. And if we really, really, really want to talk about justice, it should go all the way up to the president. How is it that there is a district common fund, but we don't have funding for people in need like this? What training do they give to our doctors and our medical facility personnel that makes it okay for them to go and dump somebody? I think I sent you a second video in which people have had surgery, but the follow-up is impossible to do in our country. Why? Why is there a complete breakdown in the chain of command in our society? And why should we expect people who are downtrodden already, who are not benefiting from the resources of our country, to care when those who are actually benefiting do not care? My argument.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
You can finish your.
My argument has always been this: you can put the cart before the horse, and the horse can push the cart, but you are not going anywhere that quickly. But if you put the cart behind the horse, and the horse is actually pulling the cart, you can get somewhere. Leadership is everything. Everything else is effects. There is a reason why that doctor felt so comfortable talking to the media that he allowed what he did to happen. He should lose his license, no question about it, because he took the Hippocratic oath to serve and to protect. In this particular instance, you are not serving and protecting anybody. If they had left the woman in the hospital to die, nobody would have known better. But for them to have the confidence to put the woman in an ambulance and go dump her somewhere. Something went wrong somewhere. And if we fire the doctor, we fire these people, it will not solve that particular problem. It should go all the way up to why they were that compelled to leave the woman in that place. Thank you.
So yes, it should go all the way up. I believe that is where the systems would have to come in. And the other thing I also wanted to say was, yes, this doctor had the confidence to even sanction or approve this barbaric act. This morning, somebody sent me a video of Albert Einstein, who was questioned about is it the formula of emotion or something, and he said, I don't keep these things in my memory because they are written in a book for somebody to go read it.
Exactly.
Because to me, it is important to think than to keep stuff in my memory. So somebody who, as you said, has sworn an oath to serve and protect the people could not even think to understand that this person also, the lady has another issue, a mental issue. So what happened to psychiatric hospital? Why not even call a psychiatric hospital and say, hey, I have a patient here who has a problem, so I'm shipping this patient to you? I mean, to me, I didn't see any thinking in this whole process. That is my beat. I didn't see any thinking in this whole process. Yes, he was bold enough, arrogant, let me put it that way, arrogant enough to stand before the media to accept the responsibility for this barbaric act. But then again, what happened to thinking? What happened to empathy? So in order to prevent this from reoccurring, that is where now we look at the systems. So moving forward, if we have an issue of this nature, what is the next step? What can we put in place to accommodate the next step? Trust me, there are patients like this everywhere, including the United States.
Exactly. Exactly.
But nobody would dare even think. This thought would not even fly through somebody's mind. That is where I have a problem.
Nana, why do you think that is so? Why do you think that if this woman was in the United States and they didn't know who she was, she didn't have any money to pay for her bills and all that, they would still have taken care of her? What do you think?
I believe that it's because most of the people, one, the systems are working. They're in place and they're working. Two, like I said, nobody would even think of what these people did. It would not even fly in somebody's mind. One, because
there will be consequences.
That's where I was going to. Because somebody is going to be held responsible.
Exactly.
You cannot do something barbaric like this and go scot-free. Even if the woman didn't die, you will still be held responsible. You know, and then again, as I said, the system's in place. Here, one person cannot take the decision to move an ambulance and move a patient out of the hospital. There has to be a process, the doctor involved, the family involved. If there's no family, I mean, you have to go through a process to sanction the movement of the ambulance, the movement of the patient. So systems are working. And then the final thing I'm going to say is the reason would not even come into somebody's mind. One, consequences. Two, some of these people understands their job.
They are conscientious. They are.
They know that
They
this
know.
is what I do. When COVID hit, I was watching some of these nurses being interviewed, and you could tell most of these nurses, even though they were taking all the precautions to preserve themselves, cared more about the lives of the patients. These are people who have the gift to serve. They understand the purpose of their gifts. So these are some of the reasons why people would not dare and would not even think about doing something barbaric like this. Human life, it's so valued.
It's irreplaceable. Now the woman is dead. There's nothing you can do about it. If she
You
was
know,
alive, you could preserve her life, but she's dead. We're all gonna
so
die.
thinking did not go through. I didn't see thinking in any of this process. Yes, she's yelling in the hospital. She's disturbing people. Disturbing people. Jesus Christ. So where
Uh,
is psychiatric hospital?
I think that was just an excuse. I don't believe.
Let's even assume. Let's assume that she's disturbing people. So you kill a human being for disturbing people.
I personally don't believe that.
Are you not there to solve a problem, to help people? So if this woman has a problem, are you not there to help her? Even if your outfit is not designed to help her, why not even consult an outfit that has been equipped to help mentally ill people? You see, I still don't get it, but I want to believe. I saw one video where um I believe I might be wrong, but I believe he's part of the government machinery, either part of the political party, or I believe, yes, I think he's part of the political party, who said he was going to make sure that justice is served. And I want to believe, I want to trust that this guy is going to do what he promised on national television to do.
I beg to differ because what I have come to understand is that they will dig until they get to somebody who is considered big, and they will stop right there. That's my problem.
All right. Then we would also continue to talk and make the
Let's
noise.
give him the benefit of the doubt. This thing just happened. In about 6 months, we will come back to this and see if anything was done about it. I want to be proven wrong. I want to be proven wrong. That they will dig this deep and they will sort of solve the pertinent issues at stake that has made this a systemic issue, and they should systematically dismantle the roadblocks that make such things happen. Exactly the same thing with this child seat issue that we started with. I will want to believe that this is a watershed issue that will prompt our lawmakers to either revamp or reenact the laws such that every time you see a child in a private car in our country, the child will be sitting in a seat, so that we don't have to, Nana, cars get broken down by the roadside, and for weeks they are sitting there. They cause accident.
All right, Prof. That's another thing. So I think we've exhausted our time.
Exactly.
We've gone past 2 minutes. We want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who's been a part of this discussion. I couldn't go on Facebook. I was having some challenges here. I couldn't go on Facebook. I just went on Facebook to do the posting, so I couldn't do it on time. Please forgive me. We'll still go back there and see if we have any questions or any contributions. We're going to continue this discussion next week. We're not going to end here today because much needs to be discussed about the systems, leadership, empathy, and all this stuff. And next week, hopefully same time. Next week, we're going to be here to discuss or continue the discussion. Thank you so much for being a part. My name is Nana Osei Bonsu Jr. and my co-host is
Kwajo Wafrimpong. We love you all. This is the only country we have. Africa is for all of us. Let's make it work.
Let's make it work. Bye-bye.
Bye.